Well, you ready to put this dreary weather behind us because this front is finally on the move and we're starting to feel that warmth, especially later today. And I'll tell you, uh, the sunset around 6:45 was amazing. This is the sunset here. The clouds. I do when you ever get that sun setting behind a bank of clouds, you always get really nice colors like this, especially right here, man. That is just fire right there. So what a sunset it was tonight around 6:45, 7 o'clock. Amazing. But anyway, you can see finally, this front is finally moving away. Finally, we are going to see improvement in our weather, and we will see the sun again after not seeing the sun for what seems like a long, long time. And you can see there's that dry, warm air that we are going to be in for the next couple of days at least. So looking at our weather map, you'll see it actually shows up as a cold front, but it's not really that cold behind it. Yeah, we're going to have some nice weather. But we'll just go over the weather for this weekend briefly here for Islip. And as far as today, we got a high of 58. That was at 1:58 in the afternoon. 13 degrees above normal, the low 40, 10 degrees above normal. And there were 11 degrees above normal today. Now, we go and look at yesterday. Yesterday was gloomy and cloudy, and there was some fog around too, and some mist. Luckily, not too much soaky drizzle. But yesterday we were 4 degrees above normal at Islip with a high of 47 and a low of 35. And month to date, we're doing good with rainfall. Let's go and take a look at what we got going on outside right now. And for once, I think the alley is about the same as the temperatures in a lot of other areas today. Let's see what we got. 54. Well, Farmingdale's 54, but if you go off to the west here, you'll see it's 58 at Kings Point, and the alley's like 62. So 61. It's not that far off. 61 at Belrose. The South Shore, however, is still cooler, and you notice there's still a sea breeze over there. Islip is 43, so it's definitely cooler out east, and the humidity is 100%. So the warm, dry air hasn't gotten over there yet. But Farmingdale's starting to get over there, and definitely feeling it here. And you can see, wow, look at that, Stony Brook up to 60. So you can see there's a bit of an inversion out east, where at the top of Stony Brook Hospital is 60 degrees, but at the surface it's 43. So there's still waiting for that cold air to just get scoured out, that cold, damp air. And that's why we still got this dense fog advisory in effect. I wonder if Islip is still reporting fog right now. Let's see. They are not reporting fog. Okay. Yeah, I mean, West Hampton might be, though. 37. No, it says clear. 37 and 37. However, if you look off to the west, you'll see how much warmer it is. In Jersey, for instance, 52. And it got to 73 at Ocean County Airport today. So already 70s off to the west. If we look at today's highs, you'll see while Long Island was in the 50s and Nassau County. The South Shore was still cooler, but middle definitely into the 60s here. Mid-60s. It's like I said, still 61 out there. 69 at Central Park. 68, 66 at Kennedy. 70 at LaGuardia, but then as you head west into Jersey, you start seeing 70s pop up. And take a look at this. Toms River, 73 it got up to today. So all the snow is probably gone from that area for sure. Definitely we are going to have quite a warm stretch of weather starting, well, at least a warm couple of days before things. It won't last that long, but it definitely is improving for sure. Obviously, they've had some pretty bad, severe weather in the parts of the country, and that's going to be flaring up again this week. Day 2, Day 3, you can see, especially as we get to Day 3, there's going to be a lot of severe weather, but we're not going to see any of that. We'll take a look at our MODIS satellite as well. And you can see there's that front that stalled out, and you can see there's actually ice in the Great Lakes. There is ice in one of the lakes. Just one of the lakes has ice in it. Just this lake right here. I don't know. Maybe this lake has some ice too. But with the warmth, I feel like some of that will melt. Though we still have ice in some of our lakes. Though luckily they are starting to melt off a little bit. A lot of them are anyway. So So I think that goes over pretty much everything here with our weather. And the warm air is definitely coming. If we look at the high temperatures today across much of the country, You'll see the warmth off to the west. We're going to finally get into that, and it's going to be feeling like spring. So let's go look at the upper air patterns to start, and we'll with the North American view and the jet stream. You can see we've got a ridge, a split pattern with a ridge developing, and that's going to bring in the GFS at 18. We'll just use the 12Z run for the continuity's sake, because we're going to look at the 12Z European. And you can see that ridge there, but there is going to be a trough that's going to swing through toward the end of the week. That's going to bring colder weather, and you can see troughiness starts returning, and that is going to bring some colder weather and opportunities for storminess again. So, well, we got this taste of spring. It won't last, and we're going to go back to more typical March weather once we get past this week. Here's the European, and probably similar look here, pretty much on both here. Yep, you can see that there is a trough, though, that comes through right there. So, and you got to remember now we're at daylight savings time, so that means that the model run's coming an hour later. Though we do get an extra hour of light. That's why I was able to watch the sunset, which is nice having those later sunsets. So, looking at the European, you see we've got the ridging in place. That's going to bring some real warmth into our area. And then here comes the trough. As we get toward the end of the week, you see that there's some troughing. No, that is the 18Z run. I want to go further. All right, so there's another trough next week. So you can see there's another trough and another one, and then some ridging. But the colder air will be back. It will get more colder again. This isn't it. There will be more cold air involvement for sure. So GFS, 12Z, and again, you have that big ridge. That ridge going all the way up there, too, way up into the Canadian Maritimes. And then cool down, and you can see there's a trough, and then a little ridge, and then another trough there that comes in. And these could be storms right here that we're going to have to watch out for. We're going to look at the surface in a little bit here. But in the meantime, we're going to have temperatures above normal. So we'll go to the temperature anomaly chart. And you can see I'm using this to show you how far the warmth goes up as we get into this week here. And you can see it goes well up into the Canadian Maritimes. Plenty of warmth from coast to coast pretty much for a couple of days. But then it doesn't last. We do see some colder weather trying to get in. Colder as far as average temperatures go. And then as we get into next week, this is when we could see the return to some polar or even possible Arctic air as we get to next week. Yeah, so we're not quite done with the Arctic air yet. It will be back. So it looks like we are going to see that polar vortex split originally. So here we go. Polar vortex has split, but you notice how it's starting to migrate over a little bit more toward our end there, and looks like another split toward the end of the period. So this could mean, again, that we could see some more Arctic air before this month is done, just one more time. And I'd like to see some more Arctic air just one more time, all right? It's a little too early for it to be this warm, and yeah, it's not time to break out the shorts yet. I'm sure some people are just, I already see it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Don't even get me started. We're not here to rant about fashion. We're here to talk about the weather. I can't stand the way people dress on Long Island. But anyway, let's go to the European now, and let's go to the temperature anomaly chart as well. So you can see that warmth. Here you go. Look at that. Real spring-like warmth. Yeah, you will be able to leave the jacket at home. That's for sure. Shorts should wait, however. But you can definitely leave the jacket at home the next couple of days for sure. And that warmth, it looks like it makes it all across you can see the west is a little cooler on the Euro. And then here comes the colder air, a little bit of colder air for Friday. And then here comes that other batch for next week. And you see there it comes right there. The Euro's got a little bit of a different angle to it. And again, the European, not quite as after how it missed that storm. I'm not quite so trustworthy on it. But here's the GFS at 18Z. And you can see that colder air working in. So we will see it. Look at that. Look at around Saturday, March 21st. Bright paint. This could be some really cold Arctic air that could be over us around that time. We'll have to look at that and see what kind of numbers it's spitting out. But that is impressive for sure. So now we're going to look at the surface. And we'll start with the 12Z GFS on the surface. And we'll start with this, and you'll see here that next time the radar simulants, just use this one. So dry this week, warm, but then we have our first weather maker is going to start coming in here toward Thursday, and there are some tight isobars here, and that could be a pretty strong cold front that's going to come through, and knocking the temperatures back down closer to average. But then here comes a clipper. And then you see what happens. Here comes another big ridge develops on Monday here, March 16th. And then we have another cold front come through. And this cold front, again, there's a bit of a suppressed piece of energy here that has to be watched for possible. Yeah, I know. I don't want any more snow either, but this has to be watched. There's a signal on that. Let me see if the 18Z is any different. You can see it's this far out, it's very variable, but you can see it has some kind of possible winter storm developing along that front. I want the cold air without a snowstorm, please. And then you can see behind that you have high pressure, and then another low, and then another high comes down. So there will be a return to colder weather as we get toward later in the month. According to this. Now, let's go look at the European model at 12Z. And again, that far out, it's really hard to say, but it does. I can say that there will be a return to colder weather. All right, so again, we have this week. As far as this week goes, Thursday is going to be interesting with this possible LLJ strong cold front. And then the European actually has it end as a little snow. And then I don't think it would amount to anything. And then we would have another clipper system here Friday developing, ushering colder air, and then here comes the next system here. This is the 12Z European, a very strong low here for Monday, and then behind that we start getting our first batch of Arctic air, and then this is the storm that the Euro was talking about here, that has us. And again, this is way out. This is a week from Thursday, I think. So. This is way out and more or less a fantasy storm, but it does have a storm developing along that front. And then another cold front coming through with another batch of some real Arctic air there behind it. And that could be some pretty cold air and very windy, too, and blustery, too. So, yeah, winter is not done yet. The Arctic air will be back. And the groundhog is going to say, hey, 6 more weeks of winter. That's spring tease. But anyway, now you get an idea of what the general pattern is. And before I get into the local, we're going to go talk about what the CPC says. I usually do this toward the end, but we're going to do this now. And you see exactly what I'm saying. Colder than normal. We're in the fringe of it in the 6 to 10 day. Above normal precipitation, because we have a couple of storms that are going to be coming through, and if it's rain. 8 to 14 day. Now we're in the colder than normal and on the fringe of above normal precipitation. So you can definitely see the trough in the east will come back and the ridge will go back to the west again, according to this. Okay, so now that we've gone through all that, let's go and take a close look at our area at the short range models, and hopefully they're all in by now. And we will start with the HRRR, and we'll start with the dew points and wind flow, obviously. So as we get into tonight, we have the west winds, fortunately. And I say fortunately because that way I'm not getting furnace exhaust. There could still be lingering southwest. You'll notice the dew points do drop. And tomorrow, winds are fairly light. And you'll notice the temperatures will rise. So the HRRR doesn't get us quite as warm as... Oh, these are the dew points. Gosh, I'm sorry. These are the dew points. But you'll see the dew points rise tomorrow, I should say. There will be a little bit of elevated dew points, perhaps over the Jersey Shore, watching those wind directions. The localized sea breezes will bring cooler conditions to the areas near the South Shore. Inland will be warmer. And then we have the southwest winds tomorrow night. I'll probably have to deal with the furnace. So I'll probably be needing the air conditioner by then. And then Tuesday, we're continuing with that more of a southerly flowier, so maybe a little bit more moisture. But still definitely a little bit on the damp, a little bit on the little slight humidity, I guess, coming in. So that affects how the skies look and everything. So now we can look at the temperatures. Now tonight, probably not going to drop that much. 40s, I think, will do it. And then I don't think the alley is going to go below 50. And then tomorrow, yeah, take a look at tomorrow. So if you're inland in New Jersey, you will be in the 70s tomorrow. Very warm tomorrow. Not sure if it's going to be record territory, but it's quite warm. And on Long Island, highs will be pretty mild as well. We'll probably have highs in the 60s across Nassau County and 50s everywhere else. And then the temperatures sort of drop as you get toward later in the day. That's right. If you're on the South Shore, this is the thing, all right? So everybody's like, it's going to be warm. But if you're on the South Shore, it's still going to be in the 50s. It's still going to be cool. So just put the damn shorts away, all right? It's going to be cool, especially if you're on the South Shore, all right? And then tomorrow night, temperatures will drop in the 40s. And then Tuesday, again, toward the North Shore, you might get close to 70, but you see that difference. The South Shore is much cooler with the sea breeze there. Temperatures in the 50s, and Jersey is going to be well into the 70s. You never know. You might even get an 80-degree reading somewhere in Jersey. Very, very warm. Looking at soundings for tomorrow, as far as skies go ahead and look at that. We'll look at 17Z, I guess. And, yeah, it does show a low cloud layer here. This is the 17th. So, unfortunately, those cooler temperatures might come along with some low clouds. Unfortunately, this is 17Z. Let's see if we work our way. Still seeing that lower cloud bank, unfortunately. Let's see. Look at Long Island here. Yep, still showing it at 17Z. So it's still developing that low cloud bank. And the question is, does it burn off by the afternoon or does it not? Yeah, it does seem to burn off by the afternoon. But if you're in Jersey, well, it will be warmer. You will have much more sunshine. And look at that. That actually looks pretty damn good, considering there. That's a nice sounding right there, showing clear skies over New Jersey, while Long Island might have to deal with some clouds, and might be dealing with the same thing on Tuesday as well. Let's take a look at Tuesday. Tuesday might wind up being a little bit better for Long Island. Let's see. Nope, those numbers are still pretty close. As you go toward the North Shore, it might be a little bit better. Yeah, toward the North Shore, it's better. And then Jersey is definitely a little bit better. But, yeah, so this is we're going to have to watch for that possibility of low cloud stratus and maybe even fog developing along the South Shore for tomorrow. So that might steal your sunshine if you're in certain parts of Long Island. Sure. And this doesn't have a cloud output, but we'll go throughout the week here, and I'm going to go to the GFS next here, and show you what the GFS has as far as dew points, wind flow, and temperatures. So, show you what happens as we get toward Wednesday. You'll definitely see an increase in the humidity, southerly flow. Again, that's going to tend to keep Long Island cooler. And then Thursday, we have this front pass through in the morning, it looks like, and then the colder temperatures come back in here. These are the dew points, but you see the colder air coming back in for that day. And then southerly winds for wind shift back over to south on Friday. We start seeing a little bit of a moderation Saturday, and the winds go northwest again. Don't see any Arctic air yet. Here we are, southeast winds, east winds on Sunday. This might be a potential for a sucky day, perhaps. We'll have to see what happens there because there was a little bit of a low there, and we get warm air surging in on Monday with possible LLJ. And then here we are Tuesday, and this is when the colder air starts coming into the picture here. Tuesday, Wednesday, you see those dew points. And then especially as we get toward Friday, that's some pretty cold air coming in there. Look at that. Wow. That's some Arctic air that might come in. So, and this is the 18Z run, but I'm going to show you this anyway. So, here we are. Now, here's the warmth again that we're going to have for Wednesday. So you're going to have at least 3 warm days inland. Though on Long Island, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get that. And then here we are dropping down into the upper 40s for Thursday. And then Friday, we're around normal, mid-40s. Nothing crazy. Warms back up again Saturday. And then here we go. Sunday, we might be dealing with another backdoor front misery again on Sunday with possible sucky drizzle around. It'll be a week from today. And then as we get into Monday, the warm air front tries to get through. We start seeing those warm temperatures inland, but not on Long Island. And then here comes the colder air. Tuesday, back into the 30s. And then you could see 30s. And then when that second batch of cold air comes, that Arctic air comes in, yeah, we may actually wind up staying below freezing all day long. So this looks like an interesting Arctic outbreak for the end of the month here. Showing on the 18Z, the 12Z doesn't have it. So that's why the 12Z does not have it as strong. But there's a potential and a signal there for some Arctic air as well to come back. Whether it'll be that cold, I don't know. But there's a chance that it could be. Now, taking a closer look at precipitation chances, all our short-range models, basically precipitation is outside of that. Basically, we're not going to really have any precipitation, though there might be some sucky drizzle offshore or maybe right at the beach. Don't get fooled. You're thinking of going to the beach, you're going to show up there, and it's going to be foggy and misty. So here's Wednesday, and you can see those winds picking up. And there's that little bit of a V there. Could we possibly have some severe weather potential on Thursday morning, perhaps, with that front? So Wednesday and Thursday look like the active days. Beyond that, and just for giggles, I'm going to put this all the way out, and we'll take a look at total snowfall and see if it's showing. It's not really showing that much on the 12Z. What about the 18Z run? The 18Z run does give us some snowfall, and quite a bit, actually. But that's the run-to-run variability, and it's that right now it's way outside. There are already people out there hyping it. It's way outside of anything. It's just a sign that things will turn colder and stormier. Doesn't mean we're going to get a big snowstorm, but certainly the potential will go up to maybe get one more snow event. So let's go look at the skies now. And looking at the GFS, obviously, which is our low-resolution model. Now, it does show the GFS pretty bullish with sunshine tomorrow across Long Island as well as Jersey. But for Tuesday, it's showing perhaps there's going to be some clouds and fog banks that might set up. So it might be sunny inland, and then you get there might be a fog bank, perhaps on the shore there. And then after that, we're going to see more clouds Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. I'm hoping we don't get as many clouds. We'll have to see when the next sunny day will be after that. But I'm not really going to go any beyond a week on these cloud models here. One I prefer to use is the RGEM. So let's go and look at that. So here we go for tonight. And you see here that cirrus layer clears up. RGEM is saying clear tomorrow. No stratus. And it does have some trying to make it in going up the Jersey shore. The stratus would be more of an issue on Tuesday. You could see it kind of hugging around Long Island there on Tuesday. And then as far as we go into Wednesday, we're looking at the 18Z run here at this because we obviously Wednesday it's showing more in the way of cloudiness, especially Long Island might be dealing with more in the way of low clouds because you have the water temperatures are still cold. We still have fairly cold water temperatures. If we look at the marine area here. We'll go ahead and look at the buoy observations maps summary here. Let's see what we got here. A lot of not available. Geez, Louise. How do they get away with this? This is a direct result of our federal government cutbacks here. So we can't seem to find any water temperatures at all. All these buoys are down completely. That is unbelievable. So we don't have water temperature availability, an actual sea surface temperature. No, I'd have to use Earth Null School, which is a sad light, but I guess that's what we're going to have to do. But I just want to illustrate the point here. All right, that our sea surface temperatures are pretty chilly, 38, 40. So that if the dew point's above that, you're going to have advection fog. So that is what you're going to have. So again, the next chance for precipitation won't be until we get toward. This is the NAM, all right? This is the 0Z NAM. So you can see we're dry, though it is trying to show perhaps some sucky drizzle on the south shore, which is possible if there's fog. But other than that, we're not really. It's Wednesday that we're gonna have to deal with the next risk for precipitation. So let's go and look at Ventu Sky, and we're gonna go ahead and look at. First, we're going to look at, this shows the HRRR and the cloud output for tomorrow. So let's go ahead and look at that. And you'll see what happens. This is tomorrow. HRRR really bullish on the clouds, developing a lot of clouds over, for some reason, it's bullish on a lot of clouds over Long Island. 10 o'clock, you can see a lot of clouds, though if you're north, it's better. It also has clouds over the Jersey Shore, too. As we get toward 1 o'clock, you start seeing the clouds kind of move away a little bit from the Jersey Shore, but they're still over Long Island, as you see here, especially on the South Shore. And then 5 o'clock, you still see those clouds, especially over Long Island on the South Shore. While most of Jersey is clear. If you're west of the Parkway, you'd be in the sunshine, but the clouds could possibly make their way in. It all depends on how much of a sea breeze there is, because if that west wind isn't strong enough, that wind is going to go south, and that's going to pull in the direct from the ocean. So temperatures tomorrow, and this is a close. This kind of illustrates what's going to be tomorrow. It's like everybody's going to like, oh, it's going to be warm, but if you're on the South Shore, it is not. I mean, you might only have 40s and 50s. Maybe especially if there's fog. If you go inland, you'll have 50s, and on the North Shore, maybe some 60s for tomorrow. But if you want the real warmth, you got to go inland as far as New Jersey goes. That's where it'll be close to 70. All right. So this is what the HRRR is showing as far as the uncertainty with tomorrow, and this makes the forecast a bit of a challenge. And we deal with the same thing on Tuesday as well. Inland warmer, cooler at the shore, and way warmer if you're inland again. So that is the mystery right now for tomorrow, whether that happens or not. This is the HRRR. It's one model, and it may be wrong. It may be overdoing it, I think. Because if we look at now, we'll go to now, and we're just going to put this in as now, 10 o'clock. And it already has, let's see, we can put fog here. Yeah, it may be overdoing the fog a little bit, but if we go tomorrow, you'll see that it's showing fog here. All right. And if we go to visibility, you'll see that it is showing fog along the shore here for tomorrow, 2 o'clock. You're going to hit like a line, and it's just going to arrive on the South Shore pretty much. According to this model, you're in Jersey, you're better off. You got more of a west wind. To start the day, you might have a little bit of it, and then less as the day goes on. All right. And then 5 o'clock, you see that it starts advancing. It makes its way in as the night comes in across Long Island. And this could be fog or sucky drizzle, perhaps. This is what the HRRR has. Maybe overdoing it. But this could spoil our warmth, depending on the wind direction. That's what it all depends on. So it's very hard to really say exactly what's going to happen. But if you're on the South Shore, don't expect that warmth. That's what I'm saying right now. If you're inland, yeah, you're going to get it. But on the South Shore, you are not going to get it. It's looking not so likely at this point because it's all about the wind direction. Now we're looking at windy.com, which is the European model. Let's see what this looks like for tomorrow as far as the cloud. And you see it's got a southwest wind, and that southwest wind is going to bring in the cloud cover. Perhaps off the ocean. Let's see what the Euro has. Euro is not showing those clouds over the ocean. So, hopefully tomorrow we'll get the sun. All right, and we'll at least get the sun in most areas, because I haven't seen the sun for now a very long time, and I would like to see some pine trees if that's possible. So here we are. It's showing clear skies on the Euro. It brings the fog situation in more on Tuesday, I think, for Long Island. But meanwhile, if you're in Jersey, it'll still be fairly clear unless you're right at the shore. See the temperatures. See the warmth is inland. But tomorrow, again, Tuesday, it only has 50s on the South Shore. Tomorrow, this is the European. It's got 60s. I don't think the South Shore gets to 60 tomorrow. I think it'll be 50s. But inland is your best bet of getting 60 or better. So anything north of the Southern State, I guess. And, of course, you really want the warmth. Yeah, Jersey's the place to be if you really want that warmth. All right, so now we move it along to Wednesday. and the storm, obviously, that we have to worry about for Wednesday. And that Wednesday is going to be somewhat of an active day. We're going to have to watch out. Well, so I think it's more like Thursday morning, right? That we have to watch out for that front. It's not showing any cape at all. There is some cape here later on the night, so you can see there could be some cape inland. And then if we go to our wind, we go to wind direction here. Wind gusts. Just trying to show that LLJ, if we can, potential for an LLJ. Of course, this is the European. Not really so bullish on having a really strong LLJ on Thursday. GFS would be a little more interesting, I think. So here's the GFS. Let's see what we got. Yeah, here's the GFS. So this would be an overnight thing. Wednesday night, we could have some, not really wind advisory criteria, but there's a pretty good wind fetch there, I think, to possibly be an issue as far as just creating some wind-driven downpours when it rains, and that's the thing. We have to watch out for those thunderstorm risks. But right now, it's too early to say what's going to happen. I could go back to the Storm Prediction Center and take a look, which is what I guess I'll have to do, and see what we got. All right, so we had I think we have to go out to day 3 or something like that and see if we've got anything here. We have day 3, but all we have is day 4 to 8. They don't have anything for us right now, but right now we'll have to see. We'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what's going to happen. But right now, you're inland. Hopefully, we break out of the sucky drizzle and and then we get some. We don't have sucky drizzle right now, but it might roll in on us tomorrow, depending on what model you look at. And right now, it's kind of hard to say. Certainly, I'm hoping that everyone inland in the middle of the island will get to see the sun. So, South Shore, I can't guarantee it. So, we're going to stop off here one last little bit here at the sea ice because we are dangerously low on sea ice. Take a look at this. That blue line is where our sea ice is, well below the median. In fact, a record low, perhaps. But of course, they're not issuing any reports because of what goes on with the federal government. We'll just leave it at that. But it's very low, very low. Obviously, this is what we are, sea ice extent, but really low record sea ice. But we don't have any analyses. So discontinued. This is what's discontinued. Persisting. We've got this is another interactive sea ice graph here that we have here. This is the blue line right here. So look at how low we are. We are way below what we're supposed to have on sea ice. So that's very, very disturbing. This is start month January. I don't know. I guess this is starting at January. So you can see how low we are with the sea ice. All right. That red is the record minimum. So we are below the record minimum right now. So again, unfortunately, we don't have any funding because of what happened with the federal government. And but I'm going to try next time. I'm going to try to get some. There's got to be another country that's putting out reports on this, so we will try to talk about this because this is serious for sure. This is going to help. This is going to create even more climate instability. But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Hopefully we see the sun tomorrow. I really hope so. Anyway, have a good night.